In this episode, I cycle the land of many lakes, also known as Swan City, Lakeland, Florida. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ed Cycles. I'm your host, Ed. Today I'm in Lakeland, Florida. As the name implies, this area has many lakes. The city has done an impressive job of putting trails around lakes and connecting these lakes. Today I'm going to explore this area and learn more about the city of Lakeland. The city of Lakeland is located approximately 48 miles southwest of Orlando and 31 miles east of Tampa. From Interstate 4, take exit 32, go south on US 98 for 4/10 of a mile, turn left onto Griffin Road, go 3/4 of a mile and turn left onto State Road 33. Take the first right onto East Robson Street, and straight ahead is the entrance to Lake Parker Park. The address is 820 East Robson Street, Lakeland. I'm beginning today's ride at Lake Parker Park at the north side of the city of Lakeland. My mileage counter will start here at the north parking lot right in front of this bridge, and I'm going to be going that way and to the left to begin my ride. Today's route begins at Lake Parker Park and takes advantage of the trails within the park and then along Lake Parker itself and then along local city roads, some with bike lanes, some with not, and we'll go around and see Lake Mirror, Lake Wire, Lake Beulah, Bonnet Springs Park with Lake Bonnet, back to Lake Beulah, go past Lake Hunter, and make our way down to Lake Hollingsworth, and then south and go around the Cleveland Heights Golf Course and Lake John. Turn back to do the eastern half of Lake Hollingsworth and stop in at the Florida Southern College. Go around Lake Morton and then see the rest of Lake Mirror and work our way back up to the starting point. Total mileage 23.5 miles. It's a great day for a bike ride. There are several biking and hiking paths throughout Lake Parker. I'm on the one that goes closest to the Lake Parker itself, and it's for less than 1 mile to get down to the south end of the park. It is a beautiful spring day as I start out this morning, nice and cool, bright blue skies. I really appreciate this park, not only for its size, but for the way it's meticulously maintained, very nicely landscaped, and I really appreciate the signage that they have, the interpretive signs to explain about the nature that can be found in the park and the wildlife. Lake Parker Park is a large park with many amenities and facilities for many activities. Encompassing 88 acres, facilities include a boat ramp, hiking and biking trails with exercise stations, pickleball courts, a 9-hole disc golf course, picnic pavilions, tennis courts, soccer fields, volleyball courts including beach volleyball courts, playgrounds, shuffleboard courts, and lawn bowling. Yes, I said lawn bowling. Behind me, just out of view, is Joker Marchant Stadium. It was opened in 1966 and is the spring training home of the Detroit Tigers and the full-time home of the Lakeland area Flying Tigers. From this point at Gate 1 of the park, the trail continues for another 1.6 miles along the west edge of Lake Parker. Within the park, there are 4 hiking and biking paths that are color-coded and marked to help keep you on the right path. My route today started on the north path, but as soon as I crossed over that very first bridge, I was on the water path, so called because it goes through the park's wetland hardwood forest. Then my route transitions to the forest path that parallels the lake shoreline. The forest path circles the site of the original park that was built in 1978, with other sections added later. I saw this signage at several places along today's route, indicating the lake-to-lake bikeway. From what I can tell, it appears that there are some actual bike trails, but there are also roadways that are what I might call bike-friendly that are not actual bike trails. Keep in mind that this lake-to-lake bikeway is not a single path, but more like multiple paths or a network connecting multiple lakes. I noticed several signs both within the park and along the lakefront where I'm at now, indicating to beware of alligators and other wildlife, and indeed I did see both. Now I'll go straight ahead on Lakeshore Drive, turn left on East Parker Street, then a right on North Ingram Avenue, then a right on East Main Street to arrive at Lake Mirror. After 2.3 miles from the start of today's route, the bike path or bike trail ends, and my route goes out onto Lakeshore Drive. Now, the city of Lakeland has done a lot to make the area cycle friendly, but it's still a work in progress. There's still improvements to be made, but overall not bad. I know not everyone is comfortable with riding on roadways. None of what I did today made me nervous. And I think what I'll do here, I'll keep a running tally of how much mileage is on bike paths, how much is on roadways with bike lanes like here, and how much is on roadways without a bike lane such as here. And I'll put that up, the running totals, each time I show the total mileage throughout this video. Now arriving at beautiful Lake Mirror in downtown Lakeland. Lake Mirror was named for the clarity of its water. Often thought of as the heart of downtown Lakeland, the 19-acre lake has a path surrounding it that's about 0.8 of a mile long for hiking and cycling. An artistic interpretation of a myriad of volunteers bonded together in a spirit of helping others and the community. The intertwined sculptural elements celebrate and encourage the volunteer spirit, an essential American tradition. Going counterclockwise around Lake Mirror, going west on Lemon Street, then a right on Missouri, left on Pine to get to Lake Wire. The building on the right is now the Lakeland Fire Department Administrative Offices, but when it was built in 1936, it housed the local Coca-Cola bottling plant. The logo can still be seen on the side of the building. The Lake Mirror Promenade was designed by New York landscape architect Welford Leavitt in 1928 and has since been added to the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. Now approaching the west side of Lake Mirror and this curious looking structure with 5 arched entryways, wondering what this is. The structure behind me is called the loggia. Loggia is the Italian word for lodge. Its intended purpose when it was constructed in the 1920s was to serve as a stage for performances that could be viewed from all around the lake. Sadly, it was never really used for this intended purpose. Today it is sometimes used for special events such as weddings and corporate functions. It remains a curious bit of Lakeland's history. Retracing my steps back out, I leave the lower level of the loggia and go up to the upper level, which is to say the street level of that same structure. Alan Krieger Park was created in 2006 and was named for a local businessman who created 3 successful local businesses. In 1957, the Queen of England gifted 2 mute swans to the city of Lakeland. The statue behind me commemorates that and is titled Mute Swan Protecting Her Cygnets. On the south side of the park is this butterfly sculpture. I don't know who the artist is, but I do know who did the monarch butterfly mural on the wall behind it. Going back down to the lake mirror level of the promenade, I go down a short distance and take a ramp that will lead me up to Lemon Street and this interesting looking building. This building at the northwest corner of Lemon Street and Massachusetts Avenue finished construction in 1935 and opened as the New Florida Hotel. It was built as a resort and hotel for tourists. It features textured stucco, arched ground floor windows, and a bell tower up top. Today, it is open as an apartment building. Now going west, just to the south of Lemon Street, in the Lemon Street Promenade. The Lemon Street Promenade was built to accommodate both pedestrians and bicyclists. Located along Lemon Street between Massachusetts Avenue and South Florida Avenue, it features 10 sculptures selected from those submitted for the 2024 Florida Outdoor Sculpture Competition. At the northwest corner of Lemon Street and South Florida Avenue is the historic Polk Theater. Constructed in 1928, the interior was designed in the style of an Italian villa with sconces, niches, and faux balconies and windows. It also featured the latest technological advances of its time, including an early air conditioning system and a movie sound system when it first became available. Continuing west along Lemon Street for one more block, and then a right turn onto Missouri Avenue for 2 blocks. At the corner of Missouri Avenue and Pine Street is the Swan Brewing Company. They were not yet open for the day when I rode past. Lake Wire has a surface area of 22 acres and is so named because the first telegraph line in Florida ran alongside an edge of this lake in 1867. This next segment goes counterclockwise all the way around Lake Wire and then back on Missouri Avenue, right on Main Street, left on New York Avenue, then right on Lemon Street, all the way down to Lake Beulah and around Lake Beulah until I get to the Sloan Avenue, which will lead me up to the entrance of Bonnet Springs Park. This Lake Wire neighborhood is one of the earliest settlements in the Lakeland area. During the Spanish-American War in 1898, a regiment of all-black soldiers camped on the north shore of Lake Wire while on their way to Cuba. These soldiers were nicknamed the Buffalo Soldiers. There is a historical marker on the north side of the lake commemorating the site of their encampment on the shore of Lake Wire. I'm leaving Lake Wire at the same place where I joined it at Pine Street, and then a right turn on Missouri and up a couple of blocks and a right turn onto Lemon Street. I'm going to turn left here and go down New York Avenue shown right there, but first I'm going to go just past New York Avenue to make a quick stop for a cup of coffee at Rogue Coffee. A quick stop for my usual double shot of espresso, which I really enjoyed, and back on the road. This section of New York Avenue is one-way for vehicles, but two-way for cyclists, with both cycle lanes together. I don't think I've come across this setup before, and I rather liked it for the novelty of it, if nothing else. This setup goes for a couple more blocks, but unfortunately I need to turn right here after just one block onto Lemon Street once again. I see this section of the road has a sharrow, which is a shared use roadway for both vehicles and cyclists, but I'm going to count it as a road without a bike lane. I'm riding past Veterans Memorial Park here on the left. It features several monuments and historical markers to commemorate and honor those who served this country. This peaceful green space has a beautiful view of Lake Beulah. Lake Beulah is an 18-acre private lake that has a great bike path that goes all the way around it, as you can see here. I'm going to go a short distance around it and turn off to the right to go up to Bonnet Springs Park, but I'll circle around more of Lake Beulah after I look at Bonnet Springs Park. To get up to Bonnet Springs Park, I'll leave Lake Beulah, go around this new roundabout and up Sloan Avenue through the underpass. The next crossing up here is George Jenkins Boulevard. As soon as I get across that, I'll be on a bike path in the Bonnet Springs Park area. I'm now in the Bonnet Springs Park area. The bike path that I'm on goes around the east side and north side of the park, but it does not loop all the way around. This is the Welcome Center, is the first place I go past here, and I'm going to pull over right up here ahead and tell you a little more. Bonnet Springs Park contains 168 acres and offers several miles of walking paths. It has a welcome center here behind me, has a butterfly house and a Florida Children's Museum. There's a bike trail that runs along the east side and north side of the park, although it's an out and back. But you can also ride the bicycles within the circulator, which is this path that I'm standing on within the park, and it's used to transport people by the park tram within the park. You are allowed on that with bicycles, but not on the smaller paths that go to the attractions. The circulator path is about 1.5 miles in length. I'm starting my ride here in Bonnet Springs Park at the Welcome Center. I'll go past the Florida Children's Museum and then past the Events Center and then past the greenhouse on one side of the path and botanical gardens on the other side, past the butterfly house, the children's tree house, the canopy walk, and return where I started in front of the Welcome Center. Previously, this 168-acre site was a rail yard supporting the area's phosphate and agricultural industries. As the need for the rail yard decreased over the years, the property fell into disrepair and neglect. A private group of locals stepped in with a vision for public use. So this park is a privately developed public park that depends on public support. After much planning and rehabilitation of the land from the previous industrial use, Bonnet Springs Park officially opened in 2022. To the right is the greenhouse, and to the left of the path is the botanical gardens, and just past that is the butterfly house on the right. The mission of Bonnet Springs Park is to enrich the community through nature, culture, recreation, and education. Just ahead, I'm passing under the canopy walk. It's a raised walkway that allows you to walk on a level path while being high up in the treetops. Leaving Bonnet Springs Park, I work my way back to Lake Beulah the same way that I arrived. Go around Lake Beulah and then down to Lake Hunter through some quiet residential streets, and we'll work my way over to Lake Hollingsworth. I now return to Lake Beulah, going the same path that I used when I left Lake Beulah to go up to Bonnet Springs Park. I go through the underpass and around the roundabout to get back to the bike trail that surrounds beautiful Lake Beulah. Lake Beulah is an 18-acre lake located in a popular residential neighborhood. It does have a full-blown bike trail all the way around it. I'm now going to head down towards Lake Hollingsworth. Yeah, I forgot we had Lake Hunter in between Beulah and Hollingsworth. I'm only going to be on Lake Hunter for a very short distance to go around it and work my way down towards Lake Hollingsworth. This is busy Route 563, also called Sykes Boulevard. There is no bike lane here, but there is this handy sidewalk. Not sure how to count this particular section. Definitely not in the roadway though. I think I'll go with calling it a bike path, and certainly this section here is a bike path. I really like this connector here that goes from that sidewalk down to the residential neighborhood. This connector path is about 275 feet in length. This residential area is the Dixieland neighborhood of Lakeland. Most of the houses were constructed in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. This traditional style neighborhood has the classic grid pattern of streets and alleys. This neighborhood contains 556 historic buildings and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Nice to see a bike lane through this residential area for a few blocks, although the streets were very quiet as I rode through the Dixieland neighborhood. This very busy cross street is South Florida Avenue. Fortunately, I merely need to go across it and not along it for any appreciable distance and continue on side residential streets. Lake Hollingsworth is pretty large at 350 acres. There is a full-blown bike trail walkway, goes all the way around the perimeter, and that length is 2.9 miles. I'm going to go down to the south end of the lake and veer off of the lake to go further south, but I'll come back to do the other side of it a little bit later in the ride. Continuing on my route today, I'll go about a quarter of the way around Lake Hollingsworth, then go south on Buckingham Avenue, and then take a bike trail that goes all the way around Cleveland Heights Golf Course and Lake John, and returns me back up to Lake Hollingsworth, where I'll go around the eastern half of Lake Hollingsworth up to Florida Southern College on the north shore of the lake. Lake Hollingsworth is named for John Hollingsworth, a pioneer who settled here. The campus of Florida Southern College is located on the north shore, and I will visit that campus a little bit later in this video. The area around the rest of the lake is very residential with some beautiful houses and a nice asphalt bike trail. Leaving the bike path around Lake Hollingsworth, I'm now cycling south on Buckingham Avenue to get up to the Cleveland Heights Golf Course. In 1923, a real estate investor from Cleveland, Ohio, purchased 560 acres south of Lake Hollingsworth for the purpose of developing a residential area. He named his new developed area Cleveland Heights. The golf course was included as an added attraction. Unfortunately, financial issues caused the city of Lakeland to take over the land for delinquent taxes. Today, the city continues to own and operate the golf course and has even added an additional 9 holes to the original 18. A public golf course, users enjoy the facilities including a 20,000 square foot clubhouse. This part of the route runs alongside Cleveland Heights Boulevard, but then it turns off and goes east along Westover Street, a much quieter side street. Right here begins a very short section, a little gap in the trail that loops around the Cleveland Heights Golf Course and Lake John. It's about 3/10 of a mile, and fortunately it's on a very quiet side street, and then I'll get back onto the trail and continue around. Going across the very southern end of Lake John. Very nice bike path through this area. Lake John contains 99 acres and is known for its fishing of largemouth bass and bluegill. The bike trail appears to end here, but the lake-to-lake bikeway sign encourages me to continue on. My route goes through this residential area containing both apartments and single-family houses, and a bike path does appear again a little bit further on. The trail rejoins the golf course, this time on the east side of the golf course. Now going along Edgewood Drive approaching Buckingham to complete the loop around Cleveland Heights Golf Course and Lake John. On the northeast corner of Edgewood Drive and Buckingham Avenue is Publix Charities Park. Formerly called the Common Ground Park, it is Polk County's first inclusive playground, meaning that the play equipment has accommodations for special needs children, including those with learning as well as physical challenges. There are various play areas, including a water feature, a sand area, and a rock wall. This park has been renamed Publix Charities Park for the generous $1 million donation that Publix has made to the city. Returning to Lake Hollingsworth, I'm going to continue on the bike path around it at the same place I left it at Buckingham Avenue. Florida Southern College is located at the north shore of the lake, and it's a private university affiliated with the United Methodist Church. With over 3,000 students, it offers undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate courses of study. Founded in 1883 as South Florida Institute, it became Florida Southern College in 1935. The 113-acre campus has 70 buildings and is home to the largest single-site collection of buildings designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. This collection of buildings is called Child of the Sun. Much like Stetson University that I visited in a prior video, the campus of Florida Southern College was also used for some scenes in Adam Sandler's movie, The Waterboy. The campus of Florida Southern College boasts the largest collection of buildings designed by American architect Frank Lloyd Wright in one location. They say there's 13. I'm going to see how many I can find. By the way, the visitor center behind me is a bungalow from the Sears Roebuck catalog of kit houses from way back about a century ago. I stopped by the Geico gift shop, and for a $5 donation I got a pamphlet which allowed me to identify the Frank Lloyd Wright buildings on a self-guided tour. The property also features this statue of the architect himself. Right next door is the first building designed by Wright. Though it was designed by him in 1939 to serve as faculty housing, it was not built until 2013, the Usonian House. The water dome was designed by Wright to symbolize a fountain of knowledge. It's 160 feet in diameter, and interestingly, the technology to create a dome of water did not exist at that time, so for years it sat as an open pool. The Watson Fine Administration Building is actually two buildings designed by Wright. They're connected by nature features using water and natural plantings to unify the buildings. This building was originally the E.T. Rue Library, but is now called the Thad Buckner Building. The William Danforth Chapel features leaded glass windows. Right behind it is the Annie Pfeiffer Chapel and was the first of Wright's buildings to be constructed on campus. It exhibits many of his trademark architectural elements. The Polk County Science Building contains the only planetarium that Wright ever designed. The Ordway Arts Building contains the only theater in the round designed by Wright. Right beside that is the campus gardens, blooming nicely for me during my visit. These covered walkways were also designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Called esplanades, they total over a mile in length, connecting the various Wright buildings on campus. I'm leaving the campus now, but didn't realize till later that I missed the three seminar buildings. Carter, Walbridge, and Hawkins seminar buildings are number 11, 12, and 13 of the Frank Lloyd Wright design buildings. I'm now going to go up to Lake Morton and then Lake Mirror and continue on the final segment of today's route back to my starting point up at Lake Parker Park. Lake Morton is known for the swans that inhabit the lake. These are descendants of the swans gifted to the city by Queen Elizabeth II. The city does perform annual health checkups on the swans to ensure that the swans will continue to inhabit the area. I guess there's a few ducks as well. Now returning to Lake Mirror along the same ramp that I used earlier in the video to come up from the lake and to go on to Lemon Street. The city of Lakeland is the most populous city within Polk County. The 2023 population count is 122,264 within its 75.3 square miles. There are 38 named lakes within the city boundaries, with Lake Parker being the largest at 2,550 acres. I'm back at Lake Mirror, this time on the south side of the lake. I'm here at Hollis Garden. It's a 1.2 acre botanical garden set in a neoclassical architectural style. It's got over 10,000 flowers, shrubs, and trees. Hollis Garden is wheelchair accessible. Though there are steps in the garden, there are also paved ramps for accessibility, such as through this bamboo area. Admission to Hollis Garden is free, and it does have a playground and a splash pad. Adjacent to Hollis Garden is the Lake Mirror Amphitheater. It's used throughout the year for various outdoor concerts. Having completed my circle around Lake Mirror, I'm going to continue on my path and follow the route back to the way I came and back to my starting point at Lake Parker Park. Lakeland, Florida is a beautiful city and is increasingly bicycle friendly. I hope you enjoyed the look at the city of Lakeland. I'm going to post a GPX file for this route on Ride with GPS, and I'll post a link to it in the video description for this video on YouTube. I hope wherever you're at, you get out and enjoy the trails, especially the ones here in Central Florida. For fun and fitness, it's always a great day for a bike ride.